तुम्हें अविद्यार भरे बोले यार तुम्हारे लोहिते आमी कइनो अवतारा तुम्हारे আমি বিনা বন্ধু আর কে আছে তোমার জেনেছে ঔষধে মায়া নাচিবার লাগে हरे नाम महामंत्र लो तुम्हें मागे भक्ति विनोद प्रभु चरणे पुड़िया जय हरि नाम मंत्र लोयलो मागिया जय हरि हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गौरा 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 हरे पतित पावन गौरा हरे निताय गौरंग जय गौर हरे निताय गौरंग जय गौर हरे निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 श्रील गुरुदेव कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलसूद्र महारानी की श्री श्री गौर निताय की ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Can you show the PPT? So, this is a very exhaustive seminar, but we will do as much as we can go through it. We will do it. You're seeing the slideshow now? You're seeing?
Clear, Prabhuji.
Slideshow is not
Yes,
coming.
Prabhuji.
You're saying it's not coming?
It is clear, Prabhuji. It is clear.
Okay. See, this is based on PowerPoint notes of His Holiness Romapad Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Brihad Bhagavat Maharaj. And I had compiled a book many years ago, probably 20 years ago, on improving our chanting Hare Krishna. There is a booklet which is yet to be published. And also from Japati Form notebook and Nectar Notion of the Holy Name by His Holiness Satyananda Swami Maharaj. So like this, I have almost 8 titles like this. Let us try to cover as much as we can. What Srila Prabhupada says about the chanting of the holy name. When Srila Prabhupada went to America, one of the first things you will find Prabhupada's famous lectures on the chanting of the holy name. Prabhupada says the chanting is meant for reviving our Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's very famous lecture. As living spirit souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities. But due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now polluted by material atmosphere. We are trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in her complexities. So, you all might have heard this famous lecture of Sri Prabhupada. So, a very simple example can be given. Sometimes a child who becomes naughty, sometimes when the mother is busy in the kitchen, he passes stool and urine and he beats the stool and urine and he rolls on it, and then he finds it stinking and then starts crying for mother's help. The mother comes and sees the child has created a mess. Then she lifts the child and takes the child to bathroom and bathes the child and dresses the child very nicely and hands the child over to father back. So the child becomes peaceful and happy after that. Similarly, we all jivas have come to this material world and we have created a messy material world. You can compare the forest and or the countryside to the cities. Like we are going on Harinam every day with Vishwakirti Prabhu. We can find in the city so many junk items like the distillery bottles and cups, and people have just strewn many things in the streets. When we go to the smaller lanes, we find the city is a messy place with air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, mind pollution, everything. So the living entities, when they turn away from Krishna, they create a messy material world. And that mess gives them trouble, so they lament also, they cry also, but they don't know solution, what to do with such a messy material world. And we are all fortunate because when one comes in contact with the pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, then we know this is the direction you have to take. See the next picture here. Prabhupada says, first there is an animal stage. Yeah? An animal stage where people are just eating, sleeping, mating, depending. They don't think of anything beyond that. And in that stage, when they suffer a lot, they want to actually rise above the suffering. Then they speculate with their mind. Why I am not able to be happy always? Why sometimes I get happiness, sometimes suffering? How to get happiness always? The jnani, and they speculate like that with the mind. Then even after speculating, they are not able to stop the sufferings. Then they go to the intellectual stage of a yogi, where they focus the intelligence to find out the cause of all causes, the source of all existence. And by knowing which they think that I will ask the source of all existence why I am suffering. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyantiyam yogino, it is said. In the previous stage, they were meditating on impersonal Brahman. Now they meditate on the super soul. Then they come to transcendental stage beyond the three gunas, which is the Bhakti Yoga. Like you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and associates dancing, chanting the holy name. This is actually the Bhagavan understanding, where they, out of love for the Lord, they chant and dance. This is a transcendental stage. So Prabhupada says, because the holy name is transcendental, he says, anyone can take part in the chanting without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy. Like you have shown the picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in the Jharkhand forest with tigers and monkeys and elephants and everybody. Even animals can take part in it. Everyone can chant and dance in ecstasy, chanting of the holy name. So you can see even children become enthusiastic when they take part in the Sankirtana. So Prabhupada was telling in one of the lectures I heard, Prabhupada said, when we do in temple hall Kirtan, small kids like this, you can see this boy, a small boy, how is he relishing the Kirtan? Children even dance and sing. So Prabhupada says, why are they jumping up and down? Because the nature of the soul is to be joyful and dance in the Sankirtana. And the beauty of this Sankirtan movement is, you don't need to even know the Sanskrit language. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't need to memorize shlokas. If you just have faith, Shraddha Mulye Shuddha Nam Sehate Devikai. See this picture below, it is said, this is actually known as Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And other devotees. So he was very famous for beating the drum and performing a powerful Sankirtan. Even today it's glorified a lot. So in this way, people from all over the world take part in Sankirtan movement and dance in ecstasy. Prabhupada says, chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord, so that immediate effects can be achieved. So you can read one homework verse I'll give you, 1.8.37. You can read that purport. 1.8.37, Kuntiman and his prayers. In that purport, Prabhupada says there are three types of sound in this world. Material sound, spiritual sound, seemingly spiritual sound. Or material sound, transcendental sound, seemingly transcendental sound. And then he explains that, although many of us are hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures, many times our Krishna consciousness is not awakened or blossomed. Why? Prabhupada says, and then he says, sometimes you take a tablet, it doesn't cure your fever. But you go to a doctor and take an injection, the intravenous injection acts directly inside the body and cures the fever very quickly, like that. Similarly, Prabhupada says, hearing the Katha, Krishna Katha from pure devotees, it has the potency to awaken, blossom Krishna consciousness also very fast and destroy the anarthas also very fast. And then Prabhupada says that, Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, Dhritarashtra, they all have seen Krishna with eyes, but they didn't love Krishna, so they could not appreciate Krishna. On the contrary, the Pandavas who were lovers of Krishna, we see, they also were contemporaries at the same time. Similarly, he says nowadays many professional reciters are speaking in YouTube. So many kathas are going on. Many congregation, Grihastha devotees, many times, they ask a question, what's wrong in hearing there is a very good speaker, he speaks Krishna Leela very nicely, he may not be ISKCON, he may be from outside, but because he speaks well, ultimately Krishna Leela is same. They say like that. It is not same, Prabhupada says. Because the milk touched by a serpent and the milk that is not touched by a serpent, they appear similar. But the milk touched by a serpent, if you drink, one will die. Prabhupada would often quote the Sanatana Goswami's verse. He would say that Avaishtava Mukodgiranam Putam Harikatam Mritam Shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpo uchishtayatapayah. Sarpa uchishtayatapayah means milk touched by a serpent. So, on the other hand, when you hear from pure devotees, it is really a poshak. It's really very nourishing to the souls. And very quickly one develops feeling for Krishna and love for Krishna and separation from Krishna. A similar thing was experienced by the prostitute who had come to allure Haridas Thakur. The second, third day, she was hearing and hearing and hearing the sound vibration coming from the lips of a pure devotee. And she started feeling separation from Krishna. Oh Lord Hari, oh Lord Hari, where are you? She started speaking like that. The feelings developed in her heart. So the success of Krishna consciousness is that when somebody is coming to this moment, gradually they are able to uplift their vision from material absorption to spiritual absorption. Earlier we were watching cinemas, movies, singing cinema songs. Now we should be singing Krishna songs and watching lectures and wanting to go closer to Krishna. Earlier we were eating out in hotels and trains and flight and everything. But now, once you become a devotee, you won't touch anything. You will consider any food that's not offered to Krishna to be amedya. It's unfit to be touched. So one will not eat. So in this way, chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord, he says, so that immediate effect can be achieved. Chanting from the lips of non-devotee should be avoided, just as one would avoid milk touched by the lips of a serpent, because it has poisonous effect, he says. Yeah. And then Prabhupada tells the meaning of the Mahamantra. Hara means a form of addressing supreme pleasure energy of the Lord, which is Haladini potency, Srimati Radharani. And Krishna means all attractive, Rama is supreme pleasure. And then he says here one very important statement below. Maya means material energy. Hara means the pleasure potency, Radharani. So Hara helps us to reach the Supreme Lord, he says. So Prabhupada says that, like you can see this picture here. Here you see the child with the mother. Mother is teaching the child, chant Krishna, Krishna. The child is chanting Krishna, Krishna. And now the mother is handing over the child to Krishna. So, like here you find Krishna meeting his devotee. That means Radharani is the one who introduces the devotee to Krishna. Just like I told you, a child who is passing stool and urine and creating a mess, mother picks up the child and bathes the child, dresses the child and hands over to the father. That's Prabhupada saying. Please read this one. This chanting is a spiritual call. Who has the mic with you? The chanting?
The chanting is a spiritual call for the Lord and His eternal energy,
Hara.
to protect the conditioned soul. The chanting is exactly like a genuine cry of the child for its mother.
Yeah, so you all know this. You've heard it before. Like when a child really wants a mother, the child cries very loudly. And the child won't be satisfied with any toy or anything unless the mother personally gives attention. So the chanting of the holy name should be done in this mood. Prabhupada says it's a call for deliverance. This should not be forgotten. Call for deliverance means I am drowning in the ocean of samsara and Krishna is coming in Garuda, like Lord is coming in Garuda from the top and he's uplifting me and he'll take me back to Godhead. And I have to call him for help. Imagine if I fell into a well in a forest. So how will I call for help? If I say help, help, it may not be heard by anybody. So naturally, if your life is in danger, you call very loudly. So the chanting should be done understanding this. Mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atachetvam ahankaram na shroshyasi vinangshyasi. Krishna says, if you don't listen to my good instructions, you will perish. But if you faithfully follow my good instructions, he says that Machitta Sarva Durgani, all your difficulties in your spiritual life will be nullified. I will destroy them, he says. Mat prasadat tarishasi. By my mercy, I will lift you up, back home, back to Godhead. If you faithfully follow my instructions, he says. So therefore, in many places Krishna says, Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. From the mrityu samsara sagar, I am your samudharta, deliverer, he says. I will deliver you from the ocean of samsara to the spiritual world. So this kind of many promises you find in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has given. Kaunte pratijane hi name bhakta pranashyati. So now here he is saying that the chanting of the holy name is done in a prayerful mood. It's like it should be made like a call, like when you're calling somebody. Actually, if you see how Bhaktivinoda Thakur chants, you can watch that movie of Abhay Charan movies. Because Abhay Charan movie, when they made, is one of Bhakti Charan Maharaj studied very deeply every bit of detail of all the Acharya's lives before he made the movie. So in that movie, you will find when Bhaktivinoda Thakur is chanting in the garden, you will find when he's chanting, he would Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Yes, as if he's calling somebody. You will immediately turn and say, who is there? You will say like that. If you are calling somebody, hey, Prabhuji, come here. When you say like that he is calling. If you have seen that Abhay, the movie, you will find that. So, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, in his house, he had made one cement box kind of thing, and he would go inside that and sit. And he would tightly shut his eyes, blindfold the eyes with clothes also, and cover the top also, practically. Only there was some place for air to come, that's all. It's a thick cement wall he had made. Why? He says that we should completely avoid distraction of the eyes and ears and chant the holy name with attention. If you go to Vrindavan, there is one L-shaped gufa. You have to walk inside like this and then you'll go inside. Almost, I can say 30 feet down, 20 to 30 feet like this L-shaped gufa. So we went in once. So there we came to know that is Sanatana Goswami's gufa. You would chant there. In those days, Kujada Kokila Hamsa Sarasagana, Kirine Mayura Kule, it is said, the cuckoos are cooing, and peacocks are dancing in those days in Vrindavan. Even in those days, he went underground to chant in a gufa. You can imagine. So now we are all sitting in cities, so much noise of the buses and cars and so much noisy city, isn't it? Yeah. So the whole idea is the chanting has to be done in the Brahma Muhurta hours, because Brahma Muhurta hours, buses, cars and all are not moving. It's a very calm time. The distractions are much lesser. Not only outside, inside also. Because most of the people are sleeping in the morning hours. Therefore, their brain waves are flat. Their brain waves are not active. So because of that, the brain traffic is also less in the morning time. If you see the roads are empty in the morning, correct? Same way, the people's the interference caused by the other people to you, like the social media is not active in the early morning. People, that means the global gossip is practically nil in the morning. So that is the best time for us. When that means you are not affected by the global impurity at that time. So it's a very good time to rise early and chant. So therefore he's saying Mother Hara helps the devotee achieve the grace of the Father, Supreme Father, Hari or Krishna. And the Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants the mantra sincerely. That means, when we chant the mantra sincerely as a call, as a sincere call, not take the mantra cheaply or disrespectfully. If we chant the mantra sincerely, then Krishna reveals himself more and more. Initially, that revelation of Krishna comes in your life. How? Like you can see the taste for Krishna Katha increasing, the taste for associating with devotees increasing, and proportionate reduction in material fever. Material fever means craze for cinemas, craze for karmi songs, craze for Hollywood, Bollywood, craze for cricket, craze for materialistic lifestyle. That should proportionally reduce. That means fever is reducing. Material fever should be reducing. Spiritual eagerness should be increasing. So these are all things you can check yourself in your life. And taste for hearing Krishna Katha, chanting the Naam and participating in festivals and rendering more and more seva. These things should be increasing. And you also feel very strong also. Internally you feel, I am satisfied with Krishna consciousness and I am not hankering for Maya. We don't feel very vulnerable. We feel safe and very protected and secure. Yeah. So that was the first topic. Now the second topic is glories of the holy name. And it's very important for us to sing the glories of the holy name, because by knowing the glories of the holy name, our respect for the holy name will increase. See, Jiva Goswami Prabhu says in Bhakti Sandarbha, he says, chanting is the chief means of attaining love of Godhead, he says. Actually, there are many things you can do to attain love of Godhead, like deity worship is one of the activities. Reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam is another activity. You can do gardening and make some flowers and offer to the deities for garland. So many things you can do. But amongst all of them, he says, the chief means for attaining love of Godhead is a chanting, he says. And then he says, there are no paraphernalia that are prescribed. You don't need to be very meticulous about anything else in chanting. Like, in Karma Kanda Puja and also, there are more than 20-30 paraphernalia. Here he says, no high birth, wealth, jati, dhan, vidya, bal, nakare, apeksha. It is said, no? So high birth, wealth, mental qualification are not required. And then he says, by humility and meekness, one attracts the attention of Krishna and achieves Krishna Prem, which is complete perfection of life. Like that, Jiva Goswami writes about the only qualification you need is a humble approach to the chanting of the holy name in the mood of a call for deliverance. Like that he says. See, this verse was spoken by Lord Chaitanya also, quoting it from Brihad Naradiya Puran. Mahaprabhu said, I urdu bahukari, he said, I lift my arms, both arms, and I am declaring it to the whole world. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Iva Kevalam, Kalo Nasti Eva Nasti Eva Nasti Eva Kadharanyata. There is no alternative like karma, jnana or yoga. The only path in this age that one should adopt is a crash course, a quick path of Bhakti Yoga, epitomized by the holy name chanting. Hare Nam, he says. And where did we get this Mahamantra? You see here, Narada is approaching Brahma. And he's asking, oh my dear father, Kali Yuga is fast approaching. What should they do, people in Kali Yuga, in order to attain all perfection? So there he says this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. This is from Kali Sanatana Upanishad. It's quoted here. So here he says, by chanting the holy name, a sinful person counteracts the reactions more sins than he is unable to commit. And he is able to commit. That's the famous verse. Namno hi avati shakti papam nirgharane hare. Tavat kartum nashaknoti patakam pataki naraha. So this is another interesting nature of holy name here. That means, there is another verse, Vishnu Dutta saying, Yata gadam viryatamam upayuktam yadurchaya ajanadopi atmagodam kuruvan mantra udahrataha. The meaning is given here. It displays its force even when chanted unknowingly or unintentionally. It's like a medicine which will anyway act even if a child eats or an old man eats it. Even unknowingly chanted holy name also benefits, he says. Ajamila was unknowingly calling his son several times. Narayana, come here, eat with me. Narayana, come with me. We are going out, like that. Unknowingly chanted holy names, unintentionally chanted holy names also has benefit. It's not that only intentionally chanted holy names has benefit. Yeah, there is a story of a Muslim who was passing stool, and there was a wild boar in the forest waiting to eat the stool. And he was waiting, was becoming impatient. And why this man is not getting up? So suddenly the boar wanted to attack him and then eat the stool. So when it attacked him, the man got wild and he shouted loudly, Haram! Like that he shouted. And because the wild boar had a horn, it hit him in the belly. That fellow died while chanting Haram. But within the name Haram, what is that? Rama is there. So because of that, he was liberated from bodily clutches. Yeah. So here is an interesting thing you may be aware probably. Shri Rama Rama iti Rame Rama Manurame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varane says 3 times chanting Rama's name is 1,000 names of Vishnu. But there's another verse in Brahmanda Puran below you're saying Sahasra Namanam Punyanam 3 Ravrityatu Tatphalam Ekavrityatu Krishnasya Nama Ekam Tat Praichati. Here's 1 time chanting Krishna's name is equal to 3 times chanting holy names of Ram, which is 3,000 times chanting the names of Vishnu. Like that he says. So one boy was asking, then why don't we just chant Krishna, 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 Krishna like this? Why do we chant Hare Krishna then? See, Although it may be a wonderful idea to do that, we don't do anything independently. We only do what Acharyas have taught us. Because Hare Krishna chanting, it's a Yugalanam, it will produce Krishna Prema. So, there is also one more mantra. Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Pagi, Mam. You know that? Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Raksha, Mam. So, that mantra is also permissible mantra, which we can sing in the morning along with Mangalarati. Prabhupada used to sing sometimes. That is also allowed. So, but at the same time, Nam Jap should be done only with the Hare Krishna mantra only. Yeah. See here, Dharamade Sarvashit Nama Sankirtan. Amongst the Navavida Bhakti, Nama Sankirtan is best. He says. But that Nama Sankirtan, how it should be done? See the second line. Niraparada Nama Loile, Pape Prema Dan. If we chant the holy name, avoiding 10 offenses, then we attain the wealth of Krishna Prema. So, why do we chant the holy name? See, this is Prabhupada chanting the holy name amongst the hippies. You know, any of you can guess, when Prabhupada went to this garden, the park, whenever he would go to the park, how long he would chant? Anybody has an idea? Would he chant 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour? How long? Anybody knows? Yeah, they have written? Shivaji? Okay. Many times Prabhupada chanted 2 to 3 hours singing Hare Krishna. Can you imagine? 2 to 3 hours. Actually, later on, Brahmananda Prabhu and other devotees also saw that Prabhupada sang like this. So when they went also, they also would sing many hours. But later on, of course, sometimes they would do half an hour or 1 hour also. But Prabhupada would sing long hours, sometimes a couple of hours sitting in the park, like that. Now, if you see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can read the Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Beda Kirtan Pastimes chapter. So in the Beda Kirtan Pastimes chapter, it is mentioned, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go around the Jagannath temple, Pradakshina Marga, that's called Beda, going around doing Sankirtan. You will hear that, they did 3 hours Kirtan, morning 3 hours Kirtan, evening 3 hours Kirtan. Sankirtan together with all devotees. Similarly, when Mahaprabhu took sannyas and came to Shantipur, you go to the chapter and read. Mahaprabhu stayed 10 days there. And Sachimata was cooking and serving all the Vaishnavas. So morning 3 hours Kirtan, then after that some Krishna Katha, then have lunch prasad, take some rest, then evening again, another 3 hours Kirtan. And Krishna Katha again, the evening. So this is a Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu is actually an avatar for this age. He is teaching how devotees should spend their time in Kali Yuga, in this age. Sankirtan, if it is performed for a prolonged period of time, it has an impact. So I remember when we were in Pune Yatra, in Pune, as soon as Radhanath Maharaj would do morning Mangalarti, will be 2 hours Mangalarti in the morning, practically. It will start at about 7:30, it will start and go till 9:30, practically. And then there will be some breakfast, prasad, and then you come back. Then there will be classes in the morning and everything. So you may wonder, 2 hours, how will Mangalarti go on? Oh, they will go on a procession also. After 45 minutes of Mangalarti in the Pandal, then it would go on a long queue guy type of thing. It will go round and round and round. It will go like a zigzag like this. It will go. Devotees will be going. And Maharaj will be in the front dancing. And he would go around. And then he and Jananivas Prabhu, they both would lead the dancing in the front. So morning was like that. And evening programs started 4:30. And then till about 5:30 or 6, there will be question answers by multiple Prabhupada disciples. But after that, 6 to 8:30, again 2.5 hours, on the stage there will be roaring dancing Kirtan. All Prabhupada disciples will be dancing on the stage. And we will be dancing down. Actually, we never got tired because we saw them dancing. Such elderly people are dancing for 2 hours, can you imagine? And one Maharaja will put other Maharaja and they would dance, and then they would be waiting and watching. Then they would dance like that. You can see those videos even today. Many Swamis would come also. Very, very wonderful. Proper disciples, 5-6 disciples will be there. So, actually, nowadays the Sankirtan has reduced a lot. Even in our Yatra times also, we used to do a lot of dancing Kirtan. But gradually now, many of the temples have become very calculated. Now, Guru Puja, we are thinking that finish it in half an hour quickly. Evening Aarti, Gaur Aarti, it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes like that. We have become very rationing. We don't ration prasadam. Everything else we ration. Huh? Prasad, when it comes to prasad, people say, hey, no. There should be unlimited prasad. but the Sankirtan of the holy name also should be done like that here. See, what is the very first stage in any relationship? If you ask this question, you ask, for example, if a boy is told by his parents, beta, we have seen a girl for you, within next 2 months we are going to get you married. What is the first thing he will ask? He will ask, who is the person? Can you please show the photo? Can you tell the name of the person? What are the qualities of the person? What are the activities of the person? I want to know who it is. And you have decided on your own? You never consulted me? The boy will ask or not? Correct now? In the same manner, because the boy knows that I am going to enter into a new relationship now, and I need to know these details. Similarly, you want to enter into a relationship with Krishna. So one thing you know is Krishna's name. Then how does Krishna look like? And what are Krishna's qualities? What are Krishna's activities? And like for example, you find in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses Krishna with many names. Bhakta Vatsala, for example, Govinda. You find Rishikesha, like he's calling him as Keshava, correct, no? So you will find all these names of Krishna. Madhava, Ma means Lakshmi, Madhava means the husband of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. Rishikesha means one who is the master of all the jiva senses ultimately. And Govinda means one who gives great bliss to the heart of the devotees. Similarly, so if you see these names, so why are these names given in the Bhagavad Gita? Because every time you address a name, the qualities of the Lord comes to heart immediately. So his name, his form, his qualities, his activities. So these are the things that one should hear if you are entering any relationship. And also then after that you want to know about how Krishna treats his devotees. There are many shlokas. Krishna says, how I keep my devotees. Dadami buddhi yogam tam jena mam payanti. I give, buddhi to my devotees to come back to me, Krishna says. And my devotees are very dear to me. He says, read the 12th chapter, 12 to 20 verses. He says, Yo mat bhakta same priyaha, he says, my devotee is very, very dear to me. And then read the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, mat chitta, mat gata prana, bodhayanta parasparam, kathayanta mam nityam, tushanti charamanti cha. In those verses, tesham satayuktanam vasam priti purvakam. My devotees worship me with priti and I also reciprocate. So one time I had given the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita exclusively, those 4 shlokas, because that's very, very important. And Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. It gives us an understanding of our relationship with Krishna. So one should hear that. One should read the Chatushloki and understand. And what is required to maintain our relation with Krishna and deepen our relationship. See, for example, if a son or daughter is connected to the parents, or a husband is connected to the wife, or parents are connected to children, what is required to maintain the relationship? You need respect, love, and trust. Most important. If you are not respectful in relationship, the relationship will become weak. And there should be trustworthy behavior also. Trustworthy means we should not cheat. And loving relationship is, genuine love is required. There is no artificial banavati love. Real, genuine affection is required. Therefore you find Krishna Sudama, if you see, there's a genuine love, there's a mutual respect between Krishna and Sudama, and they're remembering their Guru, they're remembering the Gurukula days. So you will find that respect, love and trust, they had such deep trust in each other. So on the other hand, you see Drona and Drupada. That is not trust, that is rust. Rusting relationship. You find Drona cheated Drupada, so trust was lost. And Drona had an ego problem and prestige issue. So then actually there was no respect for Drona when Drona arrived in his palace. So there was no trust also, there was no respect also. And even though Drona pushed himself and came into the palace, he just gave him some alms and drove him away. There was no love. Whereas Krishna washed the feet of Sudama and fed him prasad. So respect, love and trust, compare these two pastimes. Drona, Drupada on one side and Krishna, Sudama on the other side. Similarly, we can compare Shalya and Karna on one side and Arjuna, Krishna on the other side. Again, there is respect, love and trust. So one is a trusting relation, another one is rusting relation. So what type of relationship I want or we want with Krishna? That means, respect, love and trust. It's very important. Actually, by studying Shastra, gradually my respect for Krishna should increase. Oh, Krishna is my Lord. He is my master. He is my prananath. He is my be-all and end-all. I simply want to please him. I simply want to see a smile on his face. So, one place is only Sachinandan Maharaj writes, some people fear to develop this type of relation with Krishna. They say, I am afraid I should not become Sahajya. They say, hey, we only go through Guru. We only go through Vaishnavas. We cannot directly have a relation with Krishna. But if you read this song, Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Jivane Marane Gati Aranahi More. In that song, what he says? He says, Lalita Vishakayadi Yata Saki Vrinda Ajnaya Koribo Seba Charanaravinda. He says, I will stand by the side of Lalita and Vishaka, and one by one Arati paraphernalia I will give them. Agarbati and ghee lamp and, chamar and flowers and everything, and Lalita will offer. So what I will do, I will only assist Lalita or Vishaka. And who will offer the Arati? They will offer. Why? Because I am not qualified to offer Arati to Yugal, Radha Krishna. I am unqualified. So I will only assist, like that he says. That's what we all should do also. But in the same song you will find, Shama Gauri Ange Divo Chandane Roganda Tamaradulava Kave Heri Mukha Chandra. He says, see here he says, when will I apply Chandan to the Sham and Gaur? That means Radharani is golden and Krishna is Sham. To both their beautiful, lovely faces, when will I apply Chandan on their foreheads? Either he is asking. I want to apply directly, he is saying. When will I apply, he is saying. And then when will I take the charmer in front of them and stand them and do the charmer for their pleasure, like that he is saying. So is it wrong? He is saying one thing before, now he is saying another thing. Earlier he is saying, I want to assist Lalita Vishaka. Now he is saying, I directly want to put Chandan on their forehead and I directly want to do charmer for them. No. Actually, what is going on in Narottam Thakur's mind is, he says that I am greedy to serve the Lord directly, but I feel myself unqualified utterly. Therefore, I will assist them, but sometimes I am also eager to directly serve also. So this is the mood of a Gaudiya Vaishnava. On one hand, we feel I am not qualified. On the other hand, we are eager to accept that role for serving. That's what Prahlad also did. Prahlad was told to offer prayer to Lord Narasimha by Brahma. And Prahlad actually said, I am Ugrajati. Brahmadaya suragana munayota siddha sattvaikata namatayo vachasam prabhahai naraditum purgunai radunapi pipruhu kim toshtum argati same harirugrajate. I belong to Ugrajati, Rakshasa Kulam. How can I offer prayers in front of all these demigods like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all of them are standing. They all sing streams of poetry in glorification of Lord. And their Sanskrit is decorated with Ras, Chand, Alankar, everything. In front of them, I feel ashamed. It's like a PhD professor is standing in front of me and I am, I am asked to give a speech on the theme in which he has done doctorate. And I am only a, school student. Imagine if I am a science student of 10th standard and I have to speak in front of a PhD physics on the subject of physics, what will I feel? So Prahlad felt like that. But nevertheless, he said, Tasmadaham Vigata Viklava Ishwarasya. He says, no. Although I am not qualified, still I will not want to miss this opportunity because chance has come to my door now to get in touch with the Lord directly and praise Him. By praising Him, my chitta will become purified. So for purifying myself, I will glorify the Lord. And then he glorified with several prayers. You see Prahlad glorifying. Similarly, we all can have a direct relationship with Krishna also. But we should know that that direct relationship also is blessed or bestowed upon us by our Guru Maharaj only, by Guru only. Ultimately, without Guru's blessing, nobody can achieve anything. So, therefore, it is not wrong on the part of the devotee to offer prayers to Krishna. To maintain the relationship and deepen the relationship, we have to study the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam in such a way that what are the favors Krishna does. See, Krishna does some favor to devotee which he doesn't do for the general living entities. For example, a king, for the prince, a king will keep a very costly, beautiful dress with embroidered dress and all that. But for the beggars who come, king will give the other clothes for them. Similarly, a mother or father also, when they go in the train, I have seen, they take a hot pot and nice food for their own son or daughter. They'll open it in the afternoon and from that they will serve. When a beggar comes, they will give some sukha roti to the beggar. Correct, no? They will not give the hot prasadam to the beggar and give sukha roti to children. So somebody may say, hey, what is this? You are making a pakshapat. You are showing such, keeping special food for your children, and for beggar you are giving, we will put you behind the bars. Can police say that? They can't say that. Every parent they have the freedom. Similarly, Krishna also, for his devotees, he keeps his devotees very, very nicely. Actually, I was deeply appreciative and I became convinced about this over the years of studying Prabhupada's purports. Prabhupada stresses this point very, very much in many lectures also, purports also, that Krishna keeps his devotees very well. One lecture Prabhupada says that, you see, even when a devotee is fallen due to material desires, Krishna forgives him, apichet suduracharo, and then he sends him to heaven, where his material desires can be given shape. And after material desires are exhausted over, again Krishna puts him in a very good situation of Shuchinam, Shrimatam Gehe, in the Brahmana's house or a Vaishya's house. Brahmana's house you get very good sanskar, and Vaishya's house you get very good money and all facilities, amenities, everything. So Prabhupada says, just see, Krishna is so kind to his devotees. He, on the other hand, non-devotees also have material desires. But because they didn't come to Krishna, they get kicks, several kicks by Maya. Whereas devotees with material desires go to heaven and fulfill the material desires. And they get birth in a Brahmana family, Vaishya family, because they're obedient to the Lord. That's the only thing. If you see demigods and demons in Samudra Manthan Leela, both have material desires. But demigods got the Amritam because they're obedient to the Lord. They're like good sons of the Lord, not the bad sons. Like that. And Prabhupada says, even if a devotee is put in a forlorn situation like Bharat Maharaj becoming deer or, Indradumna becoming Gajendra, even in that time Krishna gave them remembrance, and in that very lifetime he delivered them, took them back. So we should actually think of this pastime seriously in our heart. See, thought is the most important thing, because everything in this world originates from thought, which is consciousness. So from thought, whatever we think gradually, that materializes in our life gradually. So thought becomes words, words become actions, actions become habit, habit becomes character, character becomes culture. So in this way it gradually comes. So how Krishna keeps his devotees very nicely. One time one sannyasi was speaking beautifully. He was telling that when you are going on a Rath Yatra parade, devotees chant and dance vigorously. Their whole body is sweating. They're beating mridanga, they're playing kartal, they're down, jumping and dancing. Sometimes devotees get tired due to long distance of Rath Yatra, 8 kilometers. Then they are also allowed to sit in the chariot. You know that? Along with the Lord, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra's cart, you can also go up and you can sit. And then devotees sitting there, they throw prasadam packets to the people. See, even though devotees are allowed to sit there, they don't go to sleep in the chariot. Even though they're sitting, they want to do some seva. There also they are throwing. But Lord is so kind, He keeps His devotees in His own chariot. Come, you can sit with me. Krishna is sharing the place. He's not a greedy Lord. He doesn't say, I am master, you serve me, you suffer and I will enjoy. He's not saying that. He's saying, you also come and sit with me. Not only that, Lord is eating Rajabhog. Somebody may say, he's Raja, isliye he's eating Rajabhog. And as far as we are concerned, we will only get khichdi. No, it's not like that. The Rajabhog, after Lord eats, He shares the remnants with His devotees. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a very beautiful note on this. I will just show you if I can get it. See what he says in this article. You are able to see now? See what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here. Though fully aware that the Lord is completely unconditioned, our holy and sweet principle of love takes a different view to that of the rationalist. See, the rationalist people say, hey, what do they need to offer food to God? Ultimately, God is source of everything. You bhaktas are foolish. You're taking the food and keeping in front of God as a plate. What do they need? Like that rationalist people speak. But bhaktas say, no. Lord who has given us everything, He's so kind. How can we eat without giving Him? So bhakta's sentiment makes them feel that we should give to Krishna. Like that he says. And then he says, reason says one thing, but love prescribes the opposite. Reason tells me that God has no sorrow, but love sees God in tears for His sons who are misled to evil. Like, rationalist person may say, hey, God is happy in His own world. He is not bothering about material world. Like that rationalist people will speak. But bhaktas clearly know that God is shedding tears. If you see, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is running behind the jivas. Maya Mrigam Daite Epsitam Anbadavat Vande Mahapurushati Charanarvindam. He's trying to deliver the jivas. And the two great Adi Gurus, they are going home to home, battering the door and begging them, please chant Hare Krishna. Anybody knows who are the two Adi Gurus? One Adi Guru is Balaram, another Adi Guru is Brahma in this material world. And both of them are becoming Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. And they're going door to door, begging people, falling on the ground and rolling on the ground, begging them to chant the holy name. Correct, no? So in this way, reason says one thing, but love prescribes the opposite. Reason tells me that God has no sorrow, but love sees. Reason tells me that strict laws of God reward and punish me in a cold manner. But love reveals that God slackens His laws to the repentant soul. You see, some people may say, hey, if you are committing the sins, you will go to hell. Repent or burn. Like that, they speak like that in a stern voice. Whereas in Bhagavad Gita we find, Apiche Suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. Krishna says, Sadhure vasamantavya samyak bhavasito hi saha kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nikachati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Arjuna, my devotees sometimes may commit mistakes, but very quickly they come back to the righteous position, greatly lamenting, alas, alas, Lord is so kind, my master has given me his shelter, I am such a fool that I have misbehaved. Oh Lord, give me any punishment you wish, and you may subject me to any type of suffering that will reform me, any type of suffering that will align me with your wish. And I am not afraid of the punishment. I am only afraid of separation from you. Always keep me in your lotus feet. When a devotee prays like this, Krishna says, I forgive you. And immediately I will reinstate you in your position. So in this way, he says that reason tells me that the strict laws of God reward and punish me in a cold manner. But love reveals that God slackens His laws to the repentant soul. Reason tells me that with all his improvements, man will never touch God. But love preaches that on the conversion of the soul into a state of spiritual womanhood, God, unconditioned as He is, accepts an eternal marriage with a liberated soul. What a beautiful statement you can see. He says that when the living entities give up their Purusha Bhava and they adopt the Prakriti Bhava and they adopt the mood of the gopis and they do devotional service, he says that definitely Krishna will accept them. Reason tells me that God is in infinite space and time, but love describes that the all-beautiful Lord is sitting before us like a respected relative and enjoying the pleasures of society. See, Mayavadar impersonalists may say, hey, God is not like you and me. He is in infinite space like Supreme Brahman. Whereas, Bhaktas can see that the Param Brahman also, the originally is all-beautiful Lord, sitting with other covered boys in the bank of Yamuna and eating the prasadam, vanabhoj, isn't it? And then he says, here comes the climax of this whole thing. As a father, in his amusements with his young children, God is spreading all sorts of delicious food all over the earth. and expecting his sons to gather them for their own benefit. Like, for example, he puts apples and oranges and grapes and pomegranates and bananas, all type of tasty fruits. And also he puts grains and cereals and spices and everything he is spreading on earth for his own children. He says, all sorts of dishes all over the earth, and expecting his sons to gather them for their own benefit. But the loving children, out of their holy and unmixed love, gather all the scattered blessings. He's calling it a scattered blessing. What a beautiful word, scattered blessings, and with strong feelings of love, regardless of reason, offer all the blessings to the Father, whom they love more than their lives, he's saying. That means, somebody with reason may say, Hare, you people are putting all the food in a plate and keeping in front of deity. Does God really eat it? People ask like that. That means they go by rationalization and reasoning. Those guys don't have love in their heart. Therefore, they ask such a question. But a devotee of the Lord feels, oh, Lord has given all these pleasurable eatables to me out of his great love. He is showing his love for me. Then how can I reciprocate with his love? Then he gathers all these things and cooks very nice items and puts in a plate. Oh, Lord, please eat. Like that he gives. The Father, again, in reply to their kind feelings, gives back the offering to the children and kindly tells them, oh, my children, these blessings are intended for you. Out of your natural love, you bring them to me for my enjoyment. But naturally, I have no wants for you to supply. I have, however, accepted that part of your offering, which is for me. What is that part? Your unmixed love and unbiased affections, for which I am exceedingly anxious. Take back these sweet things and enjoy them. This process of unbiased love, which dry reason can never approach, sanctifies the food we take and brings us harmless enjoyment every day of our natural life. Every word is loaded word, my Lord, He's saying it's unbiased love. The process of unbiased love, which dry reason can never approach, he's saying. The impersonalists can never understand this bhakti bhava. Sanctifies the food that we take. That means, when a prasadam becomes prasad, when we offer it with this kind of genuine affection, thank you, Krishna, from the heart, and brings us harmless enjoyment, he's saying, because sanctified food sanctifies our senses also. Ahar shuddha, sattva shuddha, dhruva smriti, smriti lambe grantinam vipramoksha, it is said. And then this is a system of sincere worship, which thieves of a higher class alone can act upon. That means devotees. We cannot express the joy we often felt when we took the Mahaprasad in the temple. The holiness we attach to it is its sweetness. And often we pray that all men may enjoy it. Bhakti Vinod Vani Vaibhava, translated by Bhumipati Prabhu, published by Ishwar Prabhu. So it's from that book. You all might have seen this book, famous book. It is Bhakti Vinod Vani Vaibhava. You'll find it in that. Beautiful, it is so heart-touching it is. So that is why this is the point of, like here it is mentioned, what is required to maintain and deepen our relationship. See, every devotional act is deceptively simple to perform, but it should be done with our thought and consciousness. Because if we don't bring our consciousness, without bringing consciousness, the activities will become mechanical, stereotyped, and will not actually give us much improvement. Because sometimes, when they do Vedic yajnas and all, it looks like a very pompous display and powerful chant of Vedic mantras. People have a lot of respect for it. On the other hand, when we talk about chanting Hare Krishna, deity worship, and reading Bhagavatam, people take it very cheaply. Therefore, some people wrap the Bhagavatam with silk cloth, if you have seen. On the table also, in many temples, they put a silken cloth, because Bhagavatam should be respected as good as Krishna. Similarly, the bead bag should be kept in the puja room. One time, Prabhupada saw a bead bag hanging outside the bathroom, a dirty bead bag. Prabhupada called the devotee and said, why is this bead bag hanging here for 300 years? Like Prabhupada asked him. And Prabhupada said, you should keep it in puja room. Don't leave it here and there. See some bead bag hanging like that. So it should be kept with us in the neck. Always you should keep the bead bag in the neck. So In this way, respectfully, we should perform the devotional service. We should sing the Vaishnava songs not only for the tune, but also for the meaning. And you should know the meaning of the songs. And similarly, when we read Bhagavatam, we should know Krishna is watching us. When we are reading Bhagavatam, He wants to know whether we are inspired by the Bhagavatam when we read the Bhagavatam. So if we feel inspired and we are moved to tears, then Krishna is also moved to tears. Oh, my devotee is appreciating my message. The Bhagavatam. And that is how this, internally we have to develop the bhava for the Lord. Actually, we are in one sense orphans in this world, because Prabhupada says we all have to fly our own plane. Everybody, all our friends, relatives, one by one will quit their bodies. We also have to quit and go. The one person who will always accompany us is Krishna. So therefore, it's very important for us to develop a very nice relationship with Him. And the method of the development of relationship is actually call for deliverance, the chanting of the holy name. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar Nama Haite Haya Sarva Jagat Nistar. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. It says here. And then see, Prabhupada writes here below. There is no difference between chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and meeting Krishna eye to eye, face to face. Simply one has to realize, Prabhupada is saying. Actually, an advanced stage of chanting Hare Krishna, one will see the form of Krishna. And one will also see the qualities of Krishna. Eventually, pastimes of Krishna will be seen when one chants the holy name. We should not artificially imagine it, but it is revealed. Swayameva Svaratyadaha, it is said. So just like if, say, your mother is calling on phone to you from faraway place, a boy is living in America, but his mother is calling from India. When he picks up the phone, as soon as he hears the mother's voice, immediately her beautiful face also comes to mind. Oh, my mother, it appears his mother is right next to him. Mother or father are right next to him. He feels like that. That's called as voice print, we call it. The sound of the parents appears to the son or daughter like as if they are immediately present. That means the sound produces a form. And if you continue talking to them, you may joke with them, you may speak to them, they may joke with you something, and in that exchange, their qualities come out also. And the memories of your exchange with them also comes, everything. Same way with chanting Hare Krishna also. Eventually, in advanced stages, one will experience that. You see, it's not only that in Kali Yuga we are chanting, even in Satya Yuga, Dhruva chanted. Treta Yuga, in the Nabi is yajna for getting a child. Before Rishabhadev was born, the Brahmanas, as soon as they saw Lord Vishnu, what is the prayer they offered? Ata kadanchit karana jutpadana jrambana duravasthanadishu vivashanam nasmaranayam jara marana dashayam sakala kashpala nirasanani tava gunakrita nama dheyani vachana gocharani bhavantu. Like that, a prose order verse they offered. The meaning of this prayer is very simple meaning, I'll tell you. Oh, my dear Lord, you appeared in this sacrificial fire in Treta Yuga, because in the Treta Yuga, yajna is the main process. But the purpose of doing all this yajna and everything is ultimately to chant your holy name, they're saying. Let us remember your holy name in all situations, even if you have fever, even if you are in a bathroom, even if you are stumbling and falling in the road, even if you are sleeping at night. Let us not forget your name and form and qualities and pastime. Tava guna krita nama deyani vachana gocharani bhavantu. Like that they are praying. That means even in Treta Yuga, they are praying that let us chant your holy name. And people in Satya Treta thought that the holy name alone is too simple for them. Therefore, they had more complex processes also. And Kali Yuga, we can't do any process. Therefore, only holy name is given. In Dwapara Yuga also, when Draupadi wanted to be saved, she loudly cried out, Hey Krishna, Hey Govinda, Hey Gopijanvalabha, Hey Dwarakawasin. Like that she called holy name. And the holy name only brought Krishna to her. So are there any differences between Lord's form as the Mahamantra and Lord's personal form or the deity form of Radha Krishna? No, there's no difference. He says, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. Prabhupada several places mentions this. See here in the bold letters he says, so to anyone who is constantly engaged in addressing the Lord and his energy, we can imagine how much Supreme Lord is obliged. Lord feels obliged to him, he says. Lord Krishna says that. Draupadi, you have called my name, I felt very greatly obliged, therefore I came, he says, when you call the holy name. This is about the most essential order. Prabhupada says, the chanting of 16 rounds is absolutely necessary if one wants to remember Krishna and not forget him, he says. See the underlined portion, last portion. Your mind is not fixed up, therefore it is minimum 16 rounds. Not that because minimum 16 rounds, I cannot chant more. Why not more? You can chant more and more, he says. Minimum you chant 16. If you have time, you can chant more, he says. Yeah. Here is a very important letter. Prabhupada says here. Will you read this? Very important letter. So the same thing.
So the same thing, deity worship and watering the tulsi plants, chanting 16 rounds at least, and observing the rules and regulative principle. Then your life is successful. Don't neglect. Very seriously continue. And in this one life, you are going back home, back to Godhead. It is sure. I am not flattering you.
See? Prabhupada is saying, it's sure. You just chant 16 rounds, water tulasi, attend the Mangalarti, and study Prabhupada books. The process appears very simple, but if you do it lifelong till last breath, you are going, Prabhupada saying, in this one life, you are going back home, back to Godhead. It is sure, I am not flattering you, Prabhupada is saying. Because somebody may say, no, Swamiji is just encouraging us. Some people may say like that. Some Indian Brahmana say, hey, your Swamiji doesn't know what is moksha. He is just telling that you chant 16 rounds, you will go back to God. People say like that. He is just saying this to encourage you. No, I am not just flattering you. It's a fact actually. If you chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regs and water tulasi and study Bhagavatam, you are going back to God in this very life. He has given assurance. So why we don't feel the taste for the holy name? Although Rupa Goswami is saying like this in Tunde Tandavani verse, I need millions of tongues and ears to chant and hear, he says. But he wants millions of tongues and ears, but we are not able to tolerate the holy name even with 2 ears also and 1 tongue also. We may ask why. And the reason is given is, as long as we are on the platform of Nama Parada, Nama Bhas, our chanting will not be always tasteful. In Nama Parad, it is very bitter. And Nama Bhas, there is some taste. Simply continue to chant and one will certainly make an experience of Krishna's real nature. So, we have to continue chanting. The example is given of the sugar candy or sugarcane juice appearing bitter for a jaundiced person. Problem is not with sugarcane juice, the problem is with the tongue, our jaundiced person. Similarly, we are all gradually giving up the bhoga vritti. To the degree we have avidya and bhoga vritti, that much it is bitter. As it is reducing, we are becoming seva vritti is increasing. Then it becomes tastier. So now I will stop here. This one I will cover in a future lecture, effects of the chanting of the holy name. And further improving our chanting Hare Krishna is one more topic coming up. I will do it in a future session. I have another 5 minutes. I can take some question. 3-4 minutes.
Yes, devotees, if you have any question, please ask immediately. Raise your hand so that we can take accordingly.
Yeah, today I discussed about Prabhupada's famous lecture in America about Mother Hara, picks up the child Jiva and offers him to Lord Hari, the Prabhupada's famous one. And Prabhupada talking about animal stage and then mental speculation stage, then one is concentrating on Paramatma stage like that. So that was one thing we discussed today. And one another thing I feel very important thing we discussed is about our love for Krishna and Krishna's love for us. It's very important. Without the devotional mood, chanting will become very bitter. There is one hand up there. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Narsimha Stuti Prabhu, Aradhita Mataji.
What is the difference between Nama Parada and Nama Bhasma?
Actually, Nama Parad means we are committing 10 offenses against the holy name during the daytime, due to which the holy name becomes bitter. For example, the first 3 offenses are Hari Guru Vaishnavas, aparad to them, first 3 offenses. And 4th offenses to the scriptures. And the 5th and 6th offenses are underestimating the power of the holy name. 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th, all 4 of them. Underestimating the power of the holy name and abusing the holy name. Yeah. So the 9th is giving holy name to a faithless person. And the 10th is clinging on to material attachments. So if you see, these 10 offenses have to be understood very well. Recently in my channel, I am putting about the 10 offenses. The total of around, I think, 40 short clips, I think. 40 clips will be there on 10 offenses. If devotees hear it, they can immediately understand what are the 10 offenses, how to avoid them. So, this is aparadhanam. Aparadhanam can be compared to a lorry which is toppled and lying. And if you start the motor, sound is coming, but wheel is rotating, but Gadi is not moving. Because it is toppled upside down. That is aparadhanam. Namakshara bhagaya namanahi haya. Many holy names are coming out of the mouth, but we are not progressing much. Cleansing is not happening. It's like athlete who is running in the same place. He is not moving ahead. And so this is compared to a dark cloud in the sky where sun is practically invisible. That is aparadhanam. And higher than that is nama bhas. Nama bhas means clearing stage, we call it. Where you see the cloud, but the cloud is a silvery cloud. Because the sun is hiding behind the cloud. You can confidently say that, I can't see the sun, but I know there is sun. You can say that. Similarly, the presence of Krishna becomes very pronounced in the life of the devotee. He says that, although I'm not very realized, Prabhu, still I know that Krishna is watching me, Krishna is doing. He developed that confidence. And also clearing stage is actually, you have Chetodarpana Marjana happens in the clearing stage. That means, and also in this Namabha stage, a helpless attitude also arises in the mind. Oh Krishna, please save me, please protect me, please cleanse me, please uplift me. I don't want to be in Maya. I want to be your devotee. Repeatedly I am falling and you are so kind, you are so forgiving. I deserve punishment, but you have always been not giving me punishment. So these type of feelings of fervent devotion, feelings of gratitude, and humble attitude of gratitude, Trinada Peshuni Chena, Tarurupi Sahishnana, all these attitudes will arise in the heart of a devotee. So such a devotee will get, will be able to clear the anarthas. Namabhas is a right stage where it's called clearing stage. And Shuddhanam is a stage where the clouds are all dissipated and the bright sun is appearing in the sky. Where the devotee is able to clearly see. That's like Shuddhanam means it produces beautiful form of Krishna in the heart of the devotee. One is seeing Krishna's form, qualities, pastimes. One is completely satisfied in that form. So then devotee calls with ecstatic love. Like Yashoda is calling, Krishna Krishna Aravindaksha Tatayehi Stanam Piva Alam Vihare Kshukshanta Krida Shrantosi Putraka. She's calling in great ecstasy. Krishna, Krishna, she's calling. Aravindaksha, oh lotus-eyed one, she's calling. Similarly, the Vajabasis are calling Krishna also. Krishna Krishna Mahabhagavatannatham Gokulam Prabho Tratum Arhasi Devan Kupitat Bhaktavatsalaha. Hey Krishna, you are the master of Gokulam, Nanda Gokulam. And we are all your people. We are all Krishna Jan, Vishnu Jan. So where will we go other than your lotus feet? We all have come to you. Like that they are calling Krishna in great ecstatic love two times. So that is a Shuddhanam. So we are all right now going from Aparadhanam to Namabhas. That is where we are somewhere in between. Or some devotees have touched Namabhas already. They have come to Namabhas. They are chanting in Namabhas. They are clearing. How do you know somebody is really clearing anarthas? They will become extremely humble. And they will be tolerant. And they will be respectful to all living beings. And they have no aspiration for any name, fame, glory, and things like that. And also they have developed a deep faith in Krishna. And they don't delight in anything other than Krishna. So, and they are also rising above the 5 anarthas of Laya, Kashaya, Rasaswada, Apratipati, and there is one more. These are all like sleep in chanting, or mind wandering in chanting, or tastelessness in chanting, or lust, anger, greed arising in the mind. So they go beyond these things and come to Nishtha stage. So Nishtha and beyond we can chant in Namabhas. So till the Anartha stage means we are still in Aparadhanam. Actually Anartha stage is also Namabhas, preliminary stage of Namabhas. Anartha Nivritti, because Nivritti is happening. Anartha clearing is happening means Namabhas has started. If Anarthas are getting cleared, devotee is becoming purified, means Namabhas has started already. Thank you, Prabhu. Good question. Do we have time, Murli Govardhan Prabhu? We can take one more?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
Prabhu.
very much.
Yes, Prabhuji. We have.
Thank you,
Next,
thank
we
you.
have Manohar Govind Prabhu and Punya Shri Mataji Prabhu. Manohar Govind Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandavad, yeah.
Names of the Lord are actually transcendental. Then how can the holy names be compared to the numbers? Like one name of Krishna is equal to 3 names of the Lord.
I couldn't hear the first part. Can the volume be louder?
Name of
Okay.
the Lord is transcendental. Then how can our holiness be compared?
Okay. I'll tell you. How can we compare the Lord's names? All names are very powerful and potent. So regarding this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoken to Venkata Bhatta also. Mahaprabhu tells Venkata Bhatta that if somebody distinguishes between Krishna and Narayana and Rama on a Tattva platform, he's an atheist, he says. He's a Pashanti. They should not distinguish from Tattva point of view because all are Vishnu Tattva. But from Rasa point of view, he says that there is a difference between. Therefore, Lakshmi want to leave Narayana and she want to go and dance in Rasa dance. Because the Rasa is different. Just like I can teach mathematics to children. I can say 2 apples plus 3 apples is 5 apples. Or I can teach 2 mangoes plus 3 mangoes is 5 mangoes. Both are mathematics. But some children may say, please teach me with mangoes and give me the mangoes to eat also. Instead of apples. So the rasa also makes a big difference. It makes it attractive. In the same manner, like if you see why one Krishna's name is equal to 3 Rama's names and 3,000 names of Vishnu, because Vishnu is more strict compared to Krishna. Krishna is more lenient. So Vishnu is standing erect, whereas Krishna is standing with threefold bending form. Like this leg is like this. He is already activating the 16 chinhas in his lotus feet. Whereas if you have to get those 16 chinha benefits from Vishnu, you have to go below his feet. Whereas Krishna is making it easily available. Not only that, Saushilita of Krishna is much more than Vishnu. Vishnu actually is like a boss leader. All the devotees of Vishnu, if you see, any problem you have in Samudra Manthan Lila, they go to Vishnu and say, we have a problem. Then he brings Vasuki, then he himself becomes Ajita in the top, Kachua, tortoise at the bottom. He becomes Dhanvantri, he becomes Mohini Murti. That means Vishnu is like a problem-solving leader. Whereas if you see Krishna, he comes down to the level of playing with monkeys and peacocks and deers and cows and calves and Yamuna and Vrindavan, playing on the flute. Very casual Lord, sportive Lord, playful Lord. Saushilita of Krishna is this extreme and Narayana is that extreme. And Rama is in between. Rama also connects with younger, a great person connected with little people, but he will only connect with leaders only. Leaders of the boatmen, Guha. Leaders of the Vanaras, Sugriva. Leaders of Rakshasas, Vibhishan. Like that only he will connect. That much he will come down. He won't come below their level. Whereas Krishna comes even below also. And many things can be said like this. I am only telling you just one thing now. So, therefore, the more the Lord is lenient, therefore one name itself is so powerful. He makes it very easily, approachable. And Lord Chaitanya is even more merciful than Krishna also. Because Krishna says that, Sarvadharman Pariteja, surrender to me, I will relieve your sins. Mahaprabhu tells Nityan Paridasakur, if people don't surrender, no problem, you go to their house. You go and give Krishna Prem, he says. All right, Maji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, can we take final question, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please.
Yes, Gandharv Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी, आपसे मुलाकात हो चुकी है 2-3 बार. थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
Correct.
एक क्वेश्चन यही है, सिंपल अभी दिमाग में आया है. एजुकेशन जो रहता, मटेरियल एजुकेशन एंड स्पिरिचुअल एजुकेशन, 2 एजुकेशन पे ज्यादा एम्फसाइज होता है, जिसमें स्पिरिचुअल तो भूल जाते हैं. बचपन से लेकर जवानी तक सिर्फ मटेरियल एजुकेशन करो, एलकेजी से पीएचडी तक कर लो, सिर्फ नोट कमाने के लिए. तो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और एंड ऑफ द लाइफ तक उसमें ही परेशान होते रहते हैं, हमेशा क्वेश्चन मार्क लगा रहता. पर स्पिरिचुअल एजुकेशन एलकेजी से लेकर 25 साल तक क्यों नहीं मिलता है, ताकि हमारा फाउंडेशन ऐसा हो जाना चाहिए कि स्पिरिचुअल हमारे को बैकअप लग जाए और हमारा जो स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट होके हमारे को एक बैकअप मिल जाए, क्योंकि स्पिरिचुअल बैकग्राउंड बैकअप देता है ताकि मटेरियल में जितनी भी प्रॉब्लम है सोल्यूशन मिल जाए. क्योंकि अल्टीमेट बैकअप
सही बोला आपने जो बोला. प्रभुपाद जी बोलते हैं कि मदरसा होता मुसलमानों का, उधर बच्चों को पहले मदरसा में वो लोग प्रभुपाद बोलते हैं उनको मदरसा में भेजते हैं 7-8 साल तक, उसके बाद ही वो लोग स्कूल में जाते हैं, मुसलमान के बच्चे लोग. लेकिन हमारे लोग स्कूल में चले जाते हैं, जैसे आपने बताया, आप भी 25-30 साल तक उनको मिलता नहीं, उसके बाद एक व्यक्ति को गीता हाथ में मिलता तब पढ़ता है वो. अभाग्य बस. आपने जो बोला वही बात प्रहलाद महाराज भी बोल रहे हैं. प्रहलाद बोल रहे हैं कि कौमारम आचरेत प्राज्ञो धर्मान भागवतानि, 5 वयस से चालू होना चाहिए, ऐसे बोल रहे हैं. तो मेरा सुझाव आपके लिए, आपके बेटे बेटियों को आप बचपन से दे सकते हैं आप। अगर आपको नहीं मिला,
मेरा बच्चे को सर 5 साल की एज से ही, नहीं 5 साल से ही मैं करा रहा हूँ, बल्कि उसके पहले से रेगुलर
सही कर
विजिट
रहे हैं
करा
आप।
रहा हूँ। एकादशी करता है,
करेक्ट।
एकादशी करता है, क्या बोलते हैं, चांटिंग करता है, 4:30 उठता है। बट मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि सिर्फ एक को कराने नहीं, पूरे विश्व को कराना, जैसे प्रभुपाद जी ने कराया है। तो हमारा इस्कॉन
अभी
टेम्पल
आप
पूरे
वानप्रस्थ
वर्ल्ड
लेकर
में
आ
है,
जाइए, मंदिर
तो
में आ जाइए हैं। आप भी हमको सहयोग दीजिए, हम जा रहे हैं, आपको भी साथ में लेके जाएंगे। आपको हम अनेक कार्यक्रम करने के लिए मौका है बहुत है। देखिए आजकल मैं एक प्रोग्राम चालू किया हूँ पुणे में वानप्रस्थों के लिए। जो लोगों का 60 उम्र हो गया, 60 के ऊपर, मैं उनको बोलता हूँ कि आप लोगों को जितना वर्ल्डली एक्सपीरियंस है वो ब्रह्मचारियों को नहीं है। ब्रह्मचारी लोग, हम लोग आश्रम में, शुरुआत से आश्रम में रहते हैं, तो आप लोग जो बाहर की दुनिया को देखा है, एक्सपीरियंस है, आपका उम्र भी 60 के ऊपर है, पंचश ऊर्ध्वं मानम व्रजेत, तो आप मैं बता रहा था कि पुणे में वानप्रस्थ भक्तों को मैं बोल रहा हूँ, वानप्रस्थों को, कि अगर आपका बेटा बेटी को बड़ा कर दिया आपने, बेटे को बिजनेस में सेटल कर दिया, बेटी को विवाह करके दे दिया, अभी आपका मटेरियल जिम्मेदारी हो गया आपका, इसलिए आपने सही ढंग से किया है, मटेरियल जिम्मेदारी पूरा किया है। तो अभी 60 वयस के बाद पति पत्नी कभी कभी आकर पूछते हैं मुझे, अभी क्या करना है प्रभु जी हम लोगों को, अभी बच्चों को हमारी टाइम की जरूरत नहीं है ज़्यादा, वो अपने पाँव में खड़े हैं, अभी हमको क्या करने का। मैं बोलता हूँ कि अभी आपको डिटैच एंड अटैच, भौतिक जीवन से डिटैच, भगवान से अटैच होकर आगे बढ़ सकते हैं आप। तो प्रभुपाद जी अमेरिका गए उनका 70 साल में, उसका मतलब यूर रियल लाइफ बिगिंस आफ्टर 60। 60 से लेकर 80 के अंदर आप पूरे दुनिया को शेक कर सकते हैं आप। प्रभुपाद जी ने करके दिखाया है। इसलिए आपका उम्र कितना हुआ जी आपका?
मेरा सर 56 हो गया है, और आई एम कनेक्टेड, 2000 से कनेक्टेड हूँ। मेरे को प्रभु जी ने एक चीज बोला था, क्या एक अल्फाज से मेरे को कनेक्ट करवाया है।
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, दैट्स वेरी गुड। अभी माय वीडियो इज गॉन।
आवाज आ रही है सर मेरे को?
आपका जब 60-65 ऐसे होगा, अगर आप और भी डेडिकेटेड तरीके से आप करना चाहते हैं तो इसको अनाबिज मंदिर में आइए।
अभी राइट नाउ से करना चाह, आपसे पर्सनली भी मिला था, मैं बोला था सर आई वांट टू डू दैट। इवन मेरे सन को भी मेरे को ब्रह्मचार्य बनाना है, अगर वो कंटिन्यू करता हो। मेरे को प्रभुपाद जी से इम्प्रेस है कि मेरा यही क्वेश्चन ये था कि इस LKG से क्यों ना भगवत गीता एक ही बुक पढ़ाएं और समझ में आ जाए, डेवलप हो जाए सर।
हाँ, आपके अंदर इतना रुचि है और जोश भी है, मुझे लग रहा है कि आप और आपके बेटे बहुत अच्छा कर पाएंगे आप। हम जरूर इसके बारे में चर्चा करेंगे।
अपॉर्चुनिटी दीजिए, आई कैन सर्व टू द बेस्ट। आई वांट टू बी एसोसिएटेड विद यू, माय सन, और वांट टू बी इवन वहां के SBIT कॉलेज में भी मिले थे आप, बच्चे को देखा था, वो इज डूइंग बीटेक इंजीनियर। तो पूरा टेक्नोलॉजी, सब चीज, मटेरियल का और स्पिरिचुअल का सब कनेक्टेड होके भगवान के शरण में रहना चाहिए बस, एंड वी विल गेट एवरीथिंग।
थैंक यू, हरे कृष्णा। आपके बड़े उत्साह है, सब भक्तों को बहुत प्रेरणा मिला आपके प्रश्न से, बहुत अच्छा, थैंक यू। समझे गोपीनाथ प्रभु, this part of the holy name seminar I completed. Next second part I will do it whenever you call me again next time. I will complete the second part fully. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada की, गौर भक्त वृंद की, हरिनाम प्रभु की। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव।